Hello, everyone. This is Damla Aktikin, and I'm here with you to have tea with you. And this is one of my favorite teas. It's original India with Tulsi sweet rose. I'm going to include a link to it, and one of my favorite cups. Inhale, exhale. Let's all of us do that. And this idea just came to me, and I'm one for just rushing in and, trying out ideas. And the idea is I love tea. I love having tea with my friends and other fellow healers. And I consider you a healer, whether you consider yourself or not. We're all healers in our own right. We all came here to heal something in our communities, in our blood and soul families. So if you're here, I can guarantee you that you're a healer. And I wanted to have these soul to soul, tea assisted conversations with you. And so, yeah, let's dive in. And I actually have, I have a, general idea of what I want to talk to you about today. But in terms of having tea with you after this, it's more of an open container, which I love. We might do some cards, we might talk about different topics. So I'm really, really excited to connect with you this way. So tea, I love herbal teas, and I'm a huge fan of rose tea, as I said earlier. There's just something about tea, just the warmth you hold in your hands, that's just very grounding and soothing to me. And I know it's the same for a lot of people. And oftentimes people would say, "Oh, let's meet up for coffee." And I'm like, "No, no, no, I can't handle coffee. Let's meet up. Let's say that we're going to meet up for tea." So this is Tea with Damla. Who am I? I'm a healer. I am an inner child energetic wound healer. I'm a crystal healing teacher, soul healing writer, and I'm completely and utterly interested in all things that bring healing to you, to me, to the world in general. And I'm very, very passionate about bringing those things to my community through healings, through memberships, through online courses, and through conversations like these. So, as I was, gathering my thoughts to talk to you today, I just want to talk about one thing that keeps coming up for me. And again, this is the sort of conversation I would have with a healer friend, maybe. I love sitting down with a healer friend and I share sort of what's going on in my world and what I'm inspired by, and they might do the same. And I love those, what I call file swaps. So this is sort of a file swap moment where I'm going to share what life has been bringing to me. So I've been drawn to reading more and more about women, books by women, women's stories, as well as stories about like intense passion, intense obsession. One of the people that I interviewed in my podcast years and years ago, her name is Genevieve Pituro, and she founded this pajama program. At the time, she was influenced or she was really inspired by this idea that she bringing pajamas to the children who are underprivileged in orphanages. Often they would have too small pajamas or dirty clothing, and she understood the importance of just this cozy pajama that the kids could have. And she actually ended up being quite successful, and I'm going to include the link to her beautiful the charity that she founded called the Pajama Program, and they ended up supplying a whole lot of pajamas to women, to children everywhere in the US. And and I asked her, and she ended up actually appearing on Oprah, and she was very, very like this was her whole world. And I asked her how it felt when she was doing it, and she said, Damla, I was completely obsessed, she said. Like she thought about pajamas day, night, and morning, and that's what she did. Like there was a hyper focus happening. And at the time, I really appreciated that because she didn't say like, "Oh, that was very blissful. That was, I took my time." Like she was really focused on this, like this intense focus and intense obsession was playing itself out. Obviously, I think there was something that inspired her that wanted to move things through her to get these pajamas to children. But she was very honest about how it felt in her system and nervous system. So I've the other thing I've been interested in, I'm gonna tie all of these together for you, I promise. This is my this is how my mind works, but we're gonna come to a point at the middle or end, I promise. So I've been interested in visiting gardens this year. It's spring, and we've visited a few gardens as a family. I find it such a pleasant, beautiful activity. I love flowers. I love watching plants that other people grew. I'm not a plant person at all. And I was looking at a few places that we haven't visited yet that are close to us. And I came across Bedrock Gardens. Again, I'm going to include the ring. And this is like 15 minutes from my house. It's very, very close to us. And I immediately booked tickets. Our library actually had free tickets. And I'm just as like I booked the tickets. And then another day I was, strolling through the library and I came across this book, this huge, big, beautiful green book called Bedrock Gardens, The Making of a Public Garden by Jill Nooney. Now, unbeknownst to me, Jill, who happens to be my neighbor, and I haven't even met her, I haven't visited the gardens yet, but I found myself reading this book. It's a picture book, and Jill explains how she was inspired to create these gardens, which are now like over this huge amount of land. And she's a sculptor as well, so she adorned the garden with sculpture. But she goes to the very, very beginning and she goes to the part where how she was obsessed with, again, that word obsessed with getting seeds from the National Arboretum in Washington, D.C., and visiting each and every garden in New England, in the USA, and then getting inspired and then trying out all these plants and then realizing she needed some structure and trying her hand in sculpture. And it was like, I'm like, and then I see the end results, and I haven't even visited the gardens yet, but I'm looking forward to it. But even in the pictures, you can see that this garden has a life and a soul to it. And I was like, okay, this theme of intense focus and intense love for something. You could call it passion, intense love for something that you keep coming back to again and again, that you try things with, and then you grow, and then you how to put it, you refine, you learn and you refine, and then you keep learning and refining. This appeals to me because this is what I feel my work is about. I don't do gardening and I don't have a nonprofit or a pajama program, but this is exactly what I feel like my life has been about just going towards what is appealing to me and then making meaning in those places and sharing that meaning with people, sharing that meaning with people. I mean, like the sharing of pajamas or sharing of a public garden. So for me, it's more about sharing of my writing, sharing of my website, sharing of my free resourcing, sharing of, this piece of having tea with you. And yeah, I mean, it's just, these places that I feel like I'm drawn to often are meaningful and have a message for me and for all of us. And this message has been coming very strongly lately of focusing on the love, focusing on the cultivation. Like you don't build a beautiful organization in one day, or you don't build a garden in one day, or you don't build a website in one day, but this idea of prolonged improvement and effort, prolonged dedication to something that you're creating, that really appeals to me. And I feel that, and I'm I'm very much, that's my intention to embody that in my work. Okay, so I thought that was going to be it. This is the this is the thread. And of course, another piece dropped in. My husband is a super geek. He's a Star Wars fan, and I've been exposed to a lot more geeky things than I care to mention here. But we just got this is a couple days ago. We just got Disney Plus again. We go in and out into the membership. And then I pointed out to him that there's a documentary about how Star Wars was made, but not just that, how the studio is called ILM and the documentary is called Light and Magic. Again, I'm going to include the links. ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, is the company that George Lucas founded to be able to create the effects in his mind, to be able to make something he was seeing in his mind eye into like a watchable reality. And it's fascinating. It's so fascinating how he went about that and how he gathered all these like almost kindred spirits who were also like George Lucas obsessed with bringing this vision to life. And then the people he gathers are also like obsessed and like super in love with what they're doing. Like one person is doing stop motion magic, one person is drawing, another one is making models, and another one like is like a light expert. I don't know, but they're all experts and they're all willing to experiment. That's the other part. They're all willing to try something and make something that wasn't ever done before. And one thing caught me, and they did an amazing job. Like you should watch this documentary, Light and Magic on Disney Plus. They go into the backgrounds of the people that were hired initially to this company, and then they sort of became the backbones of the company. And they go into their like childhoods, teenage years. And one of them is Dennis Muren, and Dennis Muren is now very well known, multiple Oscars in effects. And he said he started to create stop motion movies as a teenager, and he said, I created them to please myself. I created them to please myself. Like he was like being pulled towards this thing that he found that he loved, that he found pleasurable. And he needed more of that, so he created things to help satisfy this urge in him, this like impulse in him. And I said, wow, yes, yes, that I want to do that. And I think I am doing that in different ways, in different ways. But how beautiful to see something, just something in you reflected in others too, which I love, which I love. And and then the last piece is this is another thing that ties all of it together. I read recently this amazing book by Sharon McMahon, and it's called The Small and the Mighty 12 Unsung Americans Who Changed the Course of History. Amazing book, amazing book. And I read it with tears streaming from my face, just so very inspiring. Um, and one of the people stood out to me. She was a teacher. She was born in 1870, Virginia Randolph. And in 1890s, she leads a one room schoolhouse for Black children. And she's Black as well. And she has this one. one mantra that she keeps repeating. Um, Her mom told her, just do the next needed thing. And this woman, Virginia Randolph, ended up, she would bake bread outside of the hours that she was teaching. She would bake bread and sell to neighbors so that she could build more rooms to the school because that was needed. They needed more rooms. So she bakes bread to make more room. And and then she builds this beautiful schoolhouse, and then she actually goes on to teach other teachers who would, do keep doing the next needed thing. Um, I love that. I love that. I mean, I think a combination of like this woman, Virginia Randolph, found what she loved, definitely, and she got obsessed with it, and then she said, "Okay, what's needed next?" I think that's the other piece that ties everything together. Like, okay, you find the love and the passion, and then you say, okay, how does it tie to what's needed? What's needed in this passion space that would be of service to the people around you, and that person could be you. You could start with you could be like, how do I please myself? So that could be your next needed thing. Maybe you've never experienced that. Maybe you've never really found that place that really satisfied your soul and body, and that could be the next needed thing. And often I find healers or light workers that start this way, that often that pleasing of yourself leads to inevitably for you to create things that you want to share with others, because it's sort of that fooling or filling of yourself spills out to others. So yeah, that's my tea topic for today. That's all I wanted to share with you, these tidbits of what's coming up in my, I don't know, view, like side view, rear view, front view. This is what life has been feeding me lately, more and more. And I really wanted to share that in case it inspires you. It gives you something to think about as you're having your tea. Let's have the tea. And I think the question for you could be, first of all, what are the things in your front, side, and rear view that have been coming up again and again and again, and like these messages of things that your soul, your body is reminding you, and your soul team? What is the one thing that they want you to see and be more of? And what do you love? I mean, we keep hearing this over and over and over again, but it doesn't have to be big. Like you don't have to create a whole visual effects production studio from scratch like George Lucas does. If it's in you, do it, of course. But it could be small. It could be it could be just for you. The other thing I've been drawn to lately is embroidery. And I kept seeing it. I saw it on Bridgerton. I saw it on my Instagram feed, yada yada. And finally, I got myself like a $10 kit to try it out, and I'm hooked. It gets me out of my head. I'm in the moment. It's like coloring in a three-dimensional way. It pleases me, and I don't know why. And as I'm doing that, I'm like sometimes I'm coming into resistance, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that's here, that's present. I know that has nothing to do with the thread or the loom. It has everything to do with me. It lets me meet myself. So what are those things that you're drawn to that are not only going to give you some pleasure, but also allow you to meet yourself? And are you willing to meet yourself? Are you willing to not just stay in the passion and the obsession, but as you're staying in there, do the healing work? Okay, like I'm really getting strongly pulled into burning myself out. Is there another way? Can I pull the strings back just a little bit and make this more of a sustained effort? so that I don't completely burn myself out in the process. Like, can it be more the slowly sipping of the tea versus gobbling it all up and burning yourself? And then the last piece of this is for you to think about, how do these things of what I'm drawn to, where I put my attention to, all the signs and all the things that I'm doing to this for this fulfillment of self, how do they want to pour out of me? How do they want to be known to others? Maybe it's just you sharing that thing that you love with a friend, and that's enough. Maybe it's you creating an online course about it, which is what I do, and that's enough. Or maybe you do something bigger or smaller or in a different way. I don't know. But it's for you to figure out, how does this thing that I love, that has been feeding me and satisfying me physically, body and soul, wants to now pour out of me and not just heal myself, but heal others. And we all need that right now. That's so needed right now. And maybe all of that starts with you pouring your favorite tea and just sipping and the inhaling and the exhaling, giving yourself some pause to just feel into this. Okay, Damla is saying these words, but where do I feel those words in my body? That's some other important questions. Where do you feel my words in your body? And that's a beautiful start too. So thank you so much for joining me for tea. If you enjoyed this and if this spoke to you, please leave a comment and like or share with others. I'm going to do this again. I don't know in what way. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next time, but this is calling out to me now, and I'm going to answer the call. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Love you. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell and like, share, or comment to show your support. Thank you so much.